What up, yo? It is Luna the Right One. Welcome back to my channel. And thank you for subscribing for all the new subscribers who have. Thank you for the old ones as well, especially if you've been here since one of or all of my other videos and beginnings. If you watch any of my videos, let it be this one, okay? Because this one is, I think this one has a lot of, or will have a lot of information. And it's about timeline convergence and timeline merging or timelines altogether. Um, some information that I have come across, and it kind of explains deja vu, and that was the biggest thing that I did not get an explanation for was deja vu because I had so much of it in, I guess, past part of this life or whatnot. And I'm going to go over other bodies of yours, things like that. Before I do, though, I want to let you guys know, in reference to other bodies of yours, go to my blog, see the post that's I think it is titled "A Visitation to Another You." Go to that one, and that'll also give you kind of an idea of what I'm talking about with other bodies. My blog information is down below. Also, see one on time travel, and not only that, after this video, I'm actually going to post on my blog another one, kind of a continuation of what this video is. So it's going to be timeline convergence, something or another of the title on this one, and then go to my blog probably tomorrow. So don't look at it today. Look at it today if you want to. Look at all the other posts. But in regards to the post that I'm going to do today, look at that one tomorrow, because when it comes to writing, it's like you have to be inspired, and then it takes a bit to write it out, and then you kind of have to edit it. Yeah. Okay, so do that. Blog information down below in the description box. Give me a thumbs up on this video if you guys like it. Yay! If you guys have been following my videos, then you know I have two branches. One of them are tarot card readings. The other is basically casual conversation where I explain and talk about my experiences with all sorts of craziness. Also, guys, what I'm going to do with this video is I'm going to kind of converge. I'm going to merge it. It's going to be like, it's going to be a tarot reading and conversation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my handy dandy tarot cards. This is my newest pack. So if you guys saw my unboxing of the Barbieri, okay, unboxing, I was talking about how I'm going to make a little sachet for it. Here it is. Yes, I made this. It's not very difficult at all. So we're going to use this. So what I'm going to do, I haven't done this necessarily before, so it is very new. So just bear with me because I'm going to be giving some information and hopefully quite a lot of it from what I remember. And then again, if I don't remember certain things and I'm rewatching my video, I'm like, shit, I should have said this one. Go to my blog because it's going to be basically a continuation of this because this shit is importante, okay? Very important. And here's my cards. Kind of a dark fantasy if you guys haven't seen it before. So, okay, this is what I'm going to do. You guys are going to hear shuffling in the background. That's what this noise is. And then hopefully this laptop's not doing too much movement. I've got air on because it's freaking hot. There's been a lot of fires as well. So actually quite close to me. Not very comfortable, but it is what it is. You know, people need to stop fucking setting fires, for Christ's sake. Stop setting them damn fires. Okay, so I'm going to do a little shuffling as well. I want to tell you guys also that there's information of the information that I have here and the people that I speak of where I got this information. All of their information will be in the description box below. Fleurbrun being one and Wes Penre Papers being the other. Wes Penre, my God, he's talking to the right people because the other day I was in kind of a little bit of one last thing. If you guys want a private tarot reading, contact me, whatever, with the information below. All my info to contact me is below. Anyway, so the other day I was kind of stagnant. I was like, okay, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? You know, things like that. People who are creative, you guys understand what I'm talking about here. And I pulled a card out from my tarot readings or my tarot cards, and it was the Hanged Man. Now, the Hanged Man is meaning you're stagnant, which I knew this already, but you need to look at life from a different perspective. So I said, okay, what do you do when you're stagnant? You stop what you're doing, or you just allow what is already going to go, and then you research. Okay, you start looking for new things. You start looking for whatever it is that you're trying to find, and I did. So I went to Wes Penre. His information is down below. and started reading some of his papers. And he's been talking to, some people. One of them, who no longer is in a body here now, is, or at least in the one that was known as A.R. Borden. I have a very big history with this gentleman. He spoke to him, and he was, look him up. I'm not going to go on about him. I'm not giving him any time outside of that. So timelines and convergence. Now, Fleurbrun being one of them, I'm going to give you a big up, Fleurbrun. Hopefully I'm saying it right, from one Caribbean sister to another, okay? Puerto Rican descent with white mix. So big up to you, just saying. I am going to also put this on your, one of your timeline videos. Hopefully you're going to watch it. If not, hopefully somebody will watch it, because it's going to be some important information. Sorry if it's a long introduction. All right, so I want to kind of go, I wrote it down too, because this is important. I'm going to start out by this. People have been seeing different changes, and they call it the Mandela effect. Okay, what that is, for those of you who have no clue what it is, it's like you see certain things that you grew up with, like Looney Tunes spelling is like Tunes, and then now it's Toones, something like that, right? Or the Berenstain Bears. I grew up with Berenstain, now it's Berenstain, things like that. People are like, what the hell is going on? We know that there's a difference, but what the hell is going on? So I'm going to also explain that as well. In Fleurbrun's video, she explains about how her street name changed. Now that was very drastic. Like, you cannot not notice that. Other people also have noticed that there's buildings there that should not have been there because they weren't there before. All of a sudden they're there now, or vice versa, where there was a building, but now where the hell is it, right? And deja vu, where you're quote unquote seeing it again, because you are technically seeing it again. As an explanation for deja vu, before getting into the full explanation of it, it's when you're seeing something that you've already seen before, but they try to tell you that it's because you're seeing the future. That's bullshit. Just telling you. When they're telling you some information, generally it's the opposite of what they're telling you, and they meaning maybe schools, maybe anybody else. You can figure that shit out. What's important is the timeline issues. There's been timeline convergence. Okay, convergence is the merging of. Now, in biology, the convergence means something slightly different. It's like putting somebody from one type of culture into another culture, and they start gaining those characteristics, and they have similarities simply because of their environment. When it comes to the convergence of the environment itself, it's like two paths are joining together. Now, the timelines are technically joining together, yes, but they're technically not. What's happening is something that might even fucking blow your guys' mind, okay? Because this shit blew my mind. And it took me literally a couple of days or so to really process this information, so that I can, because you bring it in, you process it, and then, if you're doing videos like I am and you want to tell folks, you're like, how the hell do I tell folks? And how do I break it down to where I can understand it, and then you can understand it? Because some of it is really, really off and really weird, and you're like, what the freaking hell? And it's like your eyes gloss over, I don't know what the hell's going on, right? So, okay. So I want to start by, have you guys ever seen the movie? Let's see. Which movie? Groundhog Day. If you've ever seen the movie Groundhog Day, this guy, okay, long story short, he relives the same day over and over and over again, but it's only the same day, right? It's one day. Then he starts to realize, hey, that shit's the same. I know exactly what you're going to say. He gets to the point of where he's narrating the whole day, because he's already been through it 50 million times, and he's having deja vu, and he's going over and over again. Now, we are smart beings, most of us, because others are, not everybody is. Just saying. Some are empty seaters. Some are others that are coming from down unders and places we don't want them to be here. I'm trying to see where I can bring a card into this conversation, because I haven't done this before. So, all right. So with one, okay. So the Queen of Pentacles wants to come out. The Queen of Pentacles. Let's see how I can make this converge it. I guess merge it into my speech. I like this one. She's pretty hot. I'm not, lesbian or anything, but I can appreciate a woman. So, okay. So with this, maybe a knowledgeable thing, because the Queen of Pentacles is very smart, money-wise smart as well, but is very smart, very earth, because Pentacles is earth. So with her coming out, let's see. Oh my God. Okay. A couple things to come out, but let me go on the line of this timeline. With that, we're a little bit too smart. Okay, so they can't be doing one day. If they tried one day in the beginning, it didn't work. Okay, when I say they, just understand that it's somebody who's controlling this situation outside of you at the moment, because at the moment you're kind of like sleepwalking, but you're not. It doesn't make sense that you're sleepwalking because your eyes are open. But let's just say that you're just not aware of what's going on around you. So in a sense, to them, you're sleepwalking. In a sense, to you, you're awake, you're asleep, you're awake, whatever. Okay, so when I say them, it's those who already know what's going on, who may have copied the construct and who have put together the construct by our creativity. Yes, us, not theirs, because they cannot create. So this here, Queen of Pentacles, creates her own way. Okay, we'll do that and we'll use that. She creates her own way. She's earth because of the Pentacles, and she creates her own money, and she's able and I was going to say allowed, but maybe allowed will come into in some way or another. So when he was going through the days, going back to Groundhog Day, he was going through his one day every day. The way that he got out of it is because he made a different decision. Now, I haven't seen the movie in a very long time, so I don't know if somebody intervened to tell him about that whole different decision. But I do know that if you've ever seen the show Charmed, okay, Alyssa Milano being one of the people, Holly Combs, and oh my God, I can't remember everybody's names, but it's not important right now. So Charmed had 2 episodes that I am aware of. They had like 8 seasons. Love that show, by the way. If you guys don't know anything about it, a quick thing. It's 3 sisters who, after their grandmother, who was a witch, passes away, they regain their powers by getting the Book of Shadows, so on and so forth. Then they start fighting demons and, baddies and all sorts of stuff. So the first one that they go through is Phoebe, which is like the younger sister. She goes to a ghost town with her dad, and nobody's there. And then all of a sudden she intervenes with somebody that's maybe astrally, to us it would be astral, or maybe it would be dead people. As an example, have you guys been to a certain place where it seems like the energy is really thick, and there's like, you turn around and you think you saw somebody, but that person's not there anymore? Well, it is, and they're in the same kind of bubble, but in a different, I'll put it this way, they're in this different, like, how you have a cross, and this is the cross. So right here in the middle where these 2 cross, that's what you're looking at, and it's called a nexus. And the reason why it seems more power based is simply because because we as souls are the power, the energy. Look at the Matrix as far as batteries go. Matrix also talks about deja vu being a switch being a change in the system, and that is incorrect. That's not the change. Deja vu is not the change. The change is what you do. All right, so going on. With Charm, she gets caught up in that, and then she ends up going through, or he goes through her, an Native American Indian guy who gets shot by their tyrannous, overlord in there. So in order to save Phoebe, they have to go into that time bubble and change it. They have to basically get everybody out of the time bubble so that Phoebe can move on. Otherwise, Phoebe will die in this life, and then she'll end up in the time bubble. So that's intervening. People who, like me, for instance, who kind of wake up to this, and maybe not even waking up to it. Maybe you're just waking up to other things, and you say these videos and you speak on these videos. You're interfering. And I'll go into the internet. Oh, yeah, internet wasn't supposed to be what it is, yo. No. That's why they're so crazy about it. So look at this as, okay, and that one, theirs was a week. And then later on in the episodes, this was after Paige. Phoebe again goes into a time loop. They end up going into a nightclub. Now, this was the same night that looped over and over and over again. He, of course, is a tyrannous guy who everybody's scared of. And it's always a tyrannous guy who everybody's scared of, right? Always. So think about that here. Everybody's got fear of something going on, because fear is a motivator for you to make the same choices over and over again. But I'm going kind of ahead of myself. So they go into this time loop, and they end up changing it because they're interfering in this time loop. I'm thinking it's almost impossible. It's almost, but it's not impossible. I think it's almost impossible to get out of a time loop without some sort of interference. Like somebody, like say you see my video and things just start snapping into place. I saw Wes Penn's paperwork, shit started snapping into place for me. But before that, you started making other decisions. Okay. All right. So the whole thing about the time loop thing is you making decisions. All right. So instead of it being one night or one day over and over again, instead of it being 1 week over and over again, because I think we're a little smart and we would have caught on to that. So it might have been in the beginning 1 week over and over, one night. Yeah. But think of it in a grander scale. Think of it as your body's lifetime. So when I'm born in this body, and then when I die in this body, instead of being reincarnated, and I'll explain reincarnated, well, actually, you are reincarnated. So instead of being incarnated into another body, you are reincarnated into your same body. I hope I'm blowing your minds right now. So imagine this, okay? Imagine you're born in this body. You start living your lifetime and everything. You start having deja vu and you're thinking, oh my God, deja vu means that I'm supposed to be doing this. That's what I thought because that's what religion told me. They told you that, oh, when you're seeing deja vu, then you're supposed to follow that line. You're supposed to follow that, that whatever the fuck you want to call it, like that water, the creek, or follow it, just follow it. And they want you to follow because they don't want you to wake up. They don't want you to become aware of what's going on around you. They don't want you to understand that you're actually in a bubble, because once you start understanding you're in a bubble and you start making different choices, you're no longer in that bubble. That's where time travel comes into play, and I'll get into that one in a little bit as well. So hang on there, guys, hang in there. I would love to just be like, here's the technical shit and la la la, but I have to give explanations of things, and maybe so you guys can correlate it, because I had to bring his paperwork down and then kind of correlate it for me to process and understand, and I've got to do the same thing for you. Okay. So think of these as I was shown last year, which I didn't understand, bubbles. Okay. But I also was shown, if you guys think of beads, or maybe how about this, a pearl necklace. You've got the pearl, then you've got a little bit of line of the string, and then the pearl, and a line of the string, and then a pearl. And then depending on how many pearls are on that string, depends on how much line is there. The line is the flow. The pearl is the stagnancy, the bubble. So if you're in a bubble, you're not going to get out of that bubble unless you make a different decision from what you previously made before. Hence, the lifetime of repeating. Now, reincarnation means to redo. Okay, of anything means to do it again. Reincarnation. Incarnation means I'm going to put your soul in a body. But if I'm telling you that you're going to be reincarnated, I'm going to put that soul in the same body over and over and over again, and you're going to relive this. And the reason you have deja vu is because you've seen this before, because you lived it before, people. You lived it before. I had deja vu so much. I even had deja vu with this one dude that I had seen on the internet. And it was so strong at one point in 2016. It was so strong that it even felt like we were even dating. I had deja vu that we were talking on the phone and that he lived in a different country and that we were like dating and like that. But in reality, and where I was at, we weren't. There wasn't even any contact. I mean, I might ask him a question or something because he came out as somebody who had knowledge, but it was never any, oh, hey, honey, yeah. No. But it got to a point where I had so much deja vu. So that means in one of my goes, we were actually dating. And because I made a different choice, maybe he made a different choice, maybe we both made a different choice, we never dated. And so that deja vu went away because now I made a whole new timeline from the point of that one. Okay, I hope you guys are still with me here. All right, so, okay. Oh my God, there's like so much. Okay, let me see about pulling a card or whatever. It's so crazy. Now I understand why. Well, I kind of understood before, but you know how like when you see in those movies and you see like those mad scientists and they're like talking to themselves and they're like doing shit and talking to themselves. It's because they're figuring shit out. They just got a download of a whole bunch of information and they're processing it. And the way that they process it is the same way I process it. You're like talking to yourself basically like, okay, if this is da-da-da, then why this da-da-da, and then this and da-da-da, and da-da-da-da, and so on. And then when you're spitting it out, it's like super fast. And so I'm trying to like, I hope I'm going slow enough, like, and I don't mean that in a mean way, because this took me a little bit to get it as well. Oh, this is a nice card, you guys, especially for the guys and especially for the girls that like bobes. Yeah, and she's blue. Oh my God. So this is the Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups is wishes coming true, changing from one area to another. And this actually goes perfectly with this timeline thing because that's what I'm doing. I'm changing from one area to another, making different decisions. And those decisions I've been making to where I no longer have deja vu. And if I do have deja vu, you guys listen. If you guys have deja vu, that's how you know when you're still doing something that you had done before in the same life cycle, okay? Because ultimately, you've done this over and over again. And even when you've made certain different decisions, you've slightly gone away to another bubble, but then you're still doing it over and over again from that one. This is where I might blow your mind again. Don't get lost. All right. So what they say about time travel. Now, they say that, or maybe not time travel, but when you make a decision, it depends on what decision you make as to which way you go as to those lines. When I was, I could say younger, but earlier when I was like searching for knowledge and everything, trying to understand time travel and this and that, because I've done a lot of it, I was trying to figure it out. And what the scientists will tell you is that once you make that decision, both of them play out. That's bullshit too. They probably don't know about it. They might be thinking that that is true and they might be really believing it and like that. And because they think of it as being true and believing it, you believe them because your lie meter doesn't go off. Okay. Because they don't know any better. So just saying, this is a whole new, I'm giving you guys a nice little, yeah. But this is going into a whole new era, and it's a good one too. So oh, this is kind of cool. All right. So anyways, that's bullshit. Okay. So what it is, let's say, I'm going to give you an example. Somebody came to me when I was 5 years old. Okay. And he wanted to take me and, well, I don't know, do whatever. I mean, I know exactly what he wanted to do. And it wasn't like anything nasty or whatever. He wanted my mind to switch so I can go and do what he wanted me to do. You guys who are in the I guess New Age community, not even really New Age, because I don't even like to say that shit because it's not really new. This shit's the same shit over and over again. But those of you who understand handlers, that's what he was for me. So I must have done something. Okay, I'm 5 years old and I really didn't like, the parents I was with at the time. I'm adopted or whatever. And I totally would have gone with them. But then something, either I came down from the future, and I'll explain that because it's not really the future, into myself and told him no, or I just somehow knew to say no. But I was 5 years old, so I'm thinking the first would be the choice. So because of that, because I said no to him, that timeline stopped. It stopped because I'm no longer there. I'm no longer focusing my energy on it. He no longer can take me and do that. So that particular timeline stopped. He continues, but that particular timeline with me no longer is valid, and it's no longer. Now, if I come into the body, he can come, like, get reincarnated again. He's going to come to me at 5 years old again and try it again. And then if I say yes and go to him again, that's when that timeline continues. And the timeline that I chose in this one, which is to be with my parents, will stop. Do you see what I'm saying? I hope you guys are getting it, okay? Because once you focus your energy on something else, that no longer applies. It's obsolete. It ends that timeline, okay? It doesn't end him and it doesn't end anybody else in that timeline. It just ends what you do and all the effects you make in that particular timeline. Yes, it can. And when you guys say, oh, you can't go back in time because you'll mess things up, they only tell you that because they don't want you to make that choice. They don't want you to make a choice outside of what they want you to do. Okay. So like I said, a lot of things that they tell you are exactly quite the opposite. Now with this one also came out. This is the Two of Cups. Union, you guys. Two of Cups. Yeah. Union. So union, convergence, merging, so on. Now you guys have been seeing a lot of different things, maybe new street names, maybe buildings that weren't there that are now, or that were there that are not now. And this is because people are making different decisions. It's because there's been interference. Now, interference, good for us, bad for them. The internet being one of them. So this is the union card. You guys, oh my God, that's fucking cool. Because look, it's union, and a lot of the twin flames are coming together too. And a lot of the twin flames have been separated on purpose because when they come together, they also create love, and they break boundaries, plain and simple. They break boundaries. Oh, which by the way, it reminds me. Okay, so somebody that I lovingly call AA Ron, just want to say that I choose to go with you, homeboy. Yes, we're choosing you. Just saying. So I hope you're watching this. So, anyways, back to what I was saying before. Okay, now we're at a life to recap. We're at a lifetime. My kid's kind of laughing at me. Okay, so we're at a lifetime change or reboot. Okay, we're doing cycles in lifetime because the lifetime you can't remember every single thing. If it was in 1 week, then you'd be like, dude, I did that Monday, I did that Tuesday, then Wednesday, and then you would narrate it just like on Groundhog Day. But if it's a lifetime, and then they teach you in this lifetime that you should follow that path because you already have seen it. They try to tell you it's the future when in reality it's not the future. The difference about seeing the future is you see that and it's a possibility that it happens because there's numerous possibilities of futures. There's not just fucking one, there's not just two. But they do want to give you only two choices. Dual. Okay, two choices. But there's always a third, there's always a fourth, there's always a fifth. And something that we call free will causes chaos for them, because if I choose to do something different, then they've got to adjust their strategy in order to keep me in the bubble, you see. All right, so some of their strategies are this. Fear is the biggest one, and the Draco wanted me to tell you this. People have a spine cage. I was trying to think of the word. A spinal cage. The only reason I know this happened is because they ended up taking it off of me. I ended up passing a test of some sort, a fear test of some sort. I'm just going to put it that way, and we're going to leave that alone. Now they're like my homies, but not really homies because they did a lot of bad things. Now they're, different, whatever. So we have spinal cages. You don't see that shit. I mean, if we saw it, then we'd be like, hey, take that shit off, right? Obviously, we don't see half the shit that's happening to us because then we would realize it and they wouldn't have control over us. So just wanted to put that in there. That heightens our fear. The spinal cages heightens our fear. So if you have a fear of something, and it should only be like, okay, what do I do? Do I run? Do I kick their ass? Whatever. But no, it's like, oh my God, fear. And then people get anxiety and you go on like overload, red alert, because it's like extensively massive. Okay. It's like turning on a fan from low to high. It's just that fucking simple. And they've gotten very creative with the spinal cages as well. So just a little on that. Now, in order for them, and remember how we were talking about in all of the bubbles, there was somebody who was antagonizing. There was an antagonist. There was somebody who was making everybody scared. And so those people stayed in that particular bubble. They stayed doing what they're doing, hiding like little mice in the corner, all of that shit, right? But when you get over certain fears, when you pass certain tests, you get that taken off of you. I don't know if it's taken off of me, but I'm assuming it would be taken off of you as well. And if not, you could still get over your fears. It's just really heightened. I want to go into thought forms, which will also help out with the fear, and I'll do that in just a second here. So, all right, my astral projection people will know this one. My witch people will know this one, my lovely witch people. You guys call them servitors, witches. So, astral projections, you guys call them thought forms, which is basically what they are, okay? And Wes Penre also calls them thought forms. He has a paper on thought forms. I have not read that yet, but I will. I already have somewhat of an understanding of it. He does mention it a little bit in some of the papers that I have read, so I can go off of what I know. So, all right. Fear is the biggest motivator to keep you in your place, right? You get traumatized. Like everyone I grew up, almost 9 out of 10 kids were freaking beat the hell up, by their parents. It was like violence. Everything was trauma. Kids were getting raped and molested and all sorts of shit. I can't tell you how many older men and even kids my age try to do some nasty sexual shit with me. Thankfully, none of that nasty shit happened. But to other people it did. So it's very traumatizing. And then you are left to make the same decisions because you no longer value yourself. Because as long as you value yourself and love yourself, you're not going to allow somebody else to take over you, right? So if somebody is traumatizing you, you're easier to control. Okay. Once they traumatize you, and they did this a lot in the insane asylums. Okay. People were not insane, and if they were insane, it's not really the kind that you're thinking of. Okay. A lot of them were made. Okay. Made. All right. Just saying. Because when you're traumatized by something, like let's say you almost drown, you no longer want to go swimming because you almost drowned, right? You're traumatized from fucking going swimming. You were made to be traumatized because you almost drowned. You weren't scared of the water before that. Okay, just to have an understanding. And those of you who want to try to say that anxiety has nothing to do with trauma, that's a load of fucking shit too. Just saying. I got a whole bunch of crazy people like yelling at me when I told them that the basis of trauma, the basis of anxiety was trauma. No, that's okay though, yo. Peace to you. Whatever you guys want to believe in. So fear is the primal thing here. It's primal. Our bodies react to it. It's respond to it, and that we're supposed to have that. We're supposed to have that fight or flight. The thing is, the reason we have a brain and the reason we're slightly different than animals as far as that goes is so we can logicalize what the situation is at hand. Do I run? Do I fight? What do I do? Do I join in these festivities of craziness when somebody's fighting and stuff like that, which is very difficult because everybody's emotions are all over there and it's overwhelming. So they create a lot of catastrophes. Okay, 9/11 being one of them. And then you've got all these shootings. It seems like every month somebody wants to shoot somebody else, and they think that it's just fucking random things. Like, really, let's, get our heads out of our asses, people. Just saying. Then there's bombings. Then there's fires every year. All of a sudden, there's a fire season. Who starts fires? Okay, all of a sudden, fires don't just freaking light up like that. People start fires. So there's that. And people get scared from it, very much so, because who the fuck wants to be burned or like die of smoke inhalation, right? So that's what they do. And the more and more and more that you see, the more people stay scared. And the reason that there's so much more is because lately, for the past, I don't know how many years, but maybe 5, 10, maybe even after 2013, more and more people have been waking up to what's going on. So they're making different decisions. So they're going different ways. And like I said, they have to adjust their strategies in order to keep us in a bubble. Now, there's many bubbles. I'll go back to fear in just a second. There's many bubbles. Look at it this way. The best way to picture it is this. Everybody's seen a spider web, okay? Everybody should have seen a spider web with water droplets on it. Now, when you see a spider web with water droplets on it, it looks like a bunch of bubbles on top of the spider web. Okay, that's exactly what it is. There's intercrossing lines, and then there's I was going to say mediator, but it's more of a tyrannous thing. Like the spider itself is going to eat you, and basically that's what it's doing. It's just keeping your energy in the same spot so that it can suck away on you and your energy, and you don't leave. Okay, just think of it that way. It's the best way to think of it, best way to describe it. Now, when you have all these bubbles, you have different bubbles. You have bubbles that converge to each other, and that's where you get the whole difference of beautiful. This card's perfect for the fear. I'll show it in a second. Right after the bubbles. Okay, so the bubbles. Okay, so some of them are together. Some of them converge together because one person has made a choice to converge it and continue on with their life in that one. So now they're there. When a multitude of people change their mind for something, and a lot of times it'll be kind of the same way, they kind of go to the same way, then they converge, and then all of a sudden a name changes. All of a sudden a building appears or disappears. All of a sudden a Bernstein becomes a Bernstein, okay? And we know that something's wrong because we grew up hearing and knowing something different than what it is now, because I damn well would have made fun of Stains, okay? Stains in your pants. Yes, kids would have made fucking fun of that shit. But it was Berenstain, and I remembered that because I remember it was Jewish, whatever. So even if it's not, it seems like it. Either that or German, whatever. So it's one of those things. But because a lot of people are making a bunch of different decisions, you're seeing those things. You're seeing a physical reaction to the decision making that you and other people around you and other people around on the earth are making. And along with seeing those changes, you're also seeing a mass murders going on, okay? Mass fucking murders. People are shooting people up. People are starting fires, hoping that all the greenery goes away and we have no more air, and then maybe like killing people off. Then you have earthquakes because she too, who we're on Earth, has to adjust as well. So like every decision you make affects everyone and everything. This is where they come into play, where we're all one. Nah, motherfucker, because I ain't an empty seater, okay? You're not me and I'm not you. Just saying. This whole we're all one is just because they want you to go to singularity. That's a whole different thing. A whole different timeline, actually, one that I've been to. Now, with fear, this is the Knight of Swords. This one has passion and courage and strength. And this is what you guys have to have. You have to have passion. You have to have courage. You have to have a reason to do something, right? You have to have a reason to get up in the morning. You have to have a reason to change your mind to do something. Me, the other day, I was like, I'm stagnant. I don't like stagnancy. It pisses me off. It fucking makes me like angry and it's painful. Stagnancy is painful. So I'm like, what do I do to get out of this? Okay. Have the strength and the courage to say, what do I do? And then do it. So research, look somewhere, look anywhere. And then, people that are helping you who are on the outside of the bubble, who can't necessarily affect and hear, that help to lead you, because there are good and there are bad. They will help to lead you to the right papers that you might need to see. If you're a reader, I'm definitely a reader. It might be the right video that you need to see. It might be the right person at your work that just happens to know something about something, and so on. So strength, honor also comes to me as well. You have to have honor with this, because if you don't have honor and loyalty, you still go back into the same cycle, because all that other stuff with honor and loyalty, they control you. So if you can be paid off by money, they control you. If you can be paid off by your loyalty or lack thereof, they control you. So if you have strength and honor and loyalty, then it's harder for them to control you. And this is you. You're chilling on your freaking dragon. Okay. I like this with the thing. Tell me, you guys too. Communicate with me. Tell me if you guys want me to continue like doing the convergence with the tarot and the conversations or whatever. Hopefully you guys are still watching. So then you've got, so the fear keeps us trapped in the bubbles. Okay. To recap, I want to go into the internet. Okay. I talked about the other lines. Okay. So there was this one guy. Now I watch Kerry Cassidy. She, for those of you who don't know about her, I can also put her name in the bottom. If I forget, let me know, because I know that there's two of them already that I've mentioned that I'm going to put in there. And then even though I watched this, just let me know if I forget to put Kerry Cassidy in there. She interviews hold on guys, my nose is running. Okay, sorry. My nose, okay. Just saying, when I have the air conditioning on, that's what happens. All right, so Kerry Cassidy interviews people who are what you would call whistleblowers, who were in the military. Certain things happened to them. They were privy to certain information that we're not privy to, meaning they understand and know certain information that we don't. There's this one particular guy, I don't remember who, and I'm sorry, but I don't remember the interview that she did either. Just look through her stuff. I probably should have written it down, but hey, whatever. He says that they were doing experimentation on time travel and time loops and this, that, and the other. And of course, at the time, I didn't necessarily understand what was going on, but now I do. So he says that when he went through a time loop, he was going through it, he saw what was happening, and then all of a sudden he broke through the end of it and he was nowhere. He was just in darkness and nowhere. And it freaked him out, right? Because he's not used to that, and nobody teaches you that that's the end of the timeline. So he goes to the end of the timeline. Then all of a sudden, he starts to create something in his hand by thinking about it, and then starts to create certain things. Don't remember what he created, but they stopped him as he started to create. Then they lied to him. And they told him that if he continued to create, that he would have caused a great catastrophe. Well, actually, that might be the truth. He would have learned that he was the creator, one of the creators, okay, because there's many of us. Again, not all of us are creators. That he was one of the creators, and he was starting to create a timeline. They didn't want him doing that kind of shit, right? Because they need him and everybody else to be in control. I, until now, did not understand what that was all about. So when we get out of these bubbles, and if you do end up seeing like there's nothing there or whatever, start thinking and creating. But here's the problem. If you're fearful, you're going to start creating what thought forms that I was going to get into. Sorry that it kind of like, I don't know. Again, I'm just going as I'm going. So I'll get into those thought forms. if you're fearful, you're going to start creating thought forms. If you're scared of spiders, you're going to create a spider coming at you. If you're scared of snakes, so on and so forth. If you're fearless and you're very creative and you're like charismatic and stuff, you're going to be like, oh, let me create, maybe for instance, let me create a mountain I can climb on because I like rock climbing. It's fucking fun. Let me do that. And then, or maybe I like to fly. So I'm going to start flying. I'm going to create some water. Yeah. Right. Good things. But the whole thing is you have to get out of the bubbles. Okay. So when you make certain decisions, you might get out of that bubble and then you might be creating another one once they stagnate you because they have to adjust their strategies. Okay. Thought forms are just that, forms from your thoughts. I think I did mention it with the torture. They were making, when people were tortured, they create thought forms, especially if they're tortured over a certain amount of time. They create thought forms, more than one even. Now, a thought form is something that you simply create. Now, those witches who are watching this understand this, and they call them servitors, which is somebody that, or something that they create to do something specific. Let's say I want somebody to go check on Joe Blow, but I don't want to do it myself. I'm too busy. So I create a thought form and say, you're going to go check on Joe Blow. The only problem is nobody gives it a time limit. Okay. Most witches will know that you need to give it a time limit or something to where once your deed is done, you're no longer alive. You come back in, I withdraw you, and so on and so forth. But no, when you're tortured and you start creating all these thought forms, they start feeding on you and feeding off of your fear and whatever it is that you're creating, because obviously torture leads to fear. It does not lead to love. Okay. So they're feeding off your fear. Once they get strong enough, they can feed off of other people's fear. So my astral projection people, those who keep trying to tell everybody that it's only your own thought forms, is you got it half right. But it's not only everybody's thought forms of their own, it's other people's thought forms that have invaded them as well. So you guys need to do a little bit more research on that one instead of trying to tell everybody, oh, this and this and this. Okay. Don't swim in the same pond, people. Gold is in multiple ponds. All right. So each group has a little bit of gold. Go to each group and take whatever it is, but keep your own and sovereign self. They'll be a part of a group, but whatever, you do what you want to do. Just don't mislead other people. All right. Because I don't like that kind of shit. But it happens all over the place. So you're going to have discernment, people. You're just going to have to understand what's right, what's wrong, what works for you. The reason why you have a dark night of the mind, not really the soul, it's the mind, is because something is wrong. Something's wrong. Something's wrong with what you're doing, with where you are in your life. Okay. And this goes into the timeline thing, to where if you're being attacked by thought forms, yours and other people's thought forms, you have fear. When you stop having this fear, they stop attacking you because they can't feed off of you anymore. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Not everything has to be super hard. You don't have to work super hard in order to do certain things. Just stop being fearful and they won't be able to feed off of you anymore. If nobody was fearful, they wouldn't be here anymore because their jobs would be done. They would die out because they no longer have food. When you have one that attaches to other people or goes to other people because you no longer have the fear, but you never said, okay, I take you back into me, and you're gone and cut it off, it goes to that other person or other people. Okay. And it starts feeding on other people. So that's where you have, when you're going into AI, AI is another one, but when you're doing AP, astral projection, out of body experiences, and somebody's over here, it may not be yours. You may not have a fear of spiders. I don't have a fear of spiders, but then all of a sudden I might see a spider that just wants to jump at me. And I'm like, what the, could be somebody else's thought form who's scared of spiders. All right. So it's not just your own thought forms, it's other people's. But the way to get over those and to have them stop fucking with you, simply don't be afraid of them. If you know that you have specific thought forms, absorb them, take them into yourself, let them go, or give them a time limit. Always give a damn time limit. Okay. My witches know this, or you should know this. Give it a time limit. All right. So there's that. The fear is the big thing, the motivator that keeps you guys stuck in these time loops. Other bodies. Now, we all have other bodies. Okay, so they want to create linear time, right? So linear time, guys, what is that? That means it's time in a timeline, right? That's why they call it a timeline, because it's time in a line. They try to tell you that that's how it's supposed to be. It's not. It's not. We're supposed to be able to go left, right, center, up, down, all around. We're supposed to be able to do anything and all because we're free. We're fucking free, guys. Just saying, like, we're not supposed to be stuck in little fucking bubbles and boxes and shit. But, people get stuck in there because it's easier to easier to control. So, wait a minute. That's crazy. Somebody doesn't want me saying something because I totally just blanked on that of what I was just saying. That's interesting. That's okay. If I don't repeat it here, or if I don't like go into it here, then I'll remember it and I'll write it down in my post, because I'm going to do a continuation, because I think this is quite important for everybody. So I'm also going to do this on my, or do a continuation of things that I haven't said here on my blog post. Okay. Oh shoot. A whole bunch comes out. Damn, I'm trying to think of what the hell I was saying. Kind of sucks, because then I can't stop the video and be like, rewind, and then what was I saying? Timelines and funnels, doubles, spiderweb, jumping. Oh, bodies, going into our bodies. Okay, whew, geez, Louise, I wanted to really say this. We have multiple, linear. Okay, so we have multiple bodies, and that's why the things seem to be in linear motion. We're not supposed to be, in a line. That's why they always put us in a line, to wait in lines, and so that we can get used to the fact that lines are something that we should be having or being a part of, and it's not. A lot of you guys need to start fresh. This is the Ace of Wands. Start new ideas, have new ideas, see things from a different perspective, even though this is not the Hangman. So when it comes to the bodies and linear time, we have multiple bodies because the soul has been broken apart into bits and pieces. Okay, bits and pieces. You got one eye there, you got the other eye there, you got a hand here, you got a head there, you got a brain, whatever, in multiple pieces. Okay. How they make time linear and how they make it seem like it, to where we believe it, and we're like, well, how do you get this and how do you get that? Like my grandma, this, okay, how do you explain this, right? This happened, and then they start making like 2001, 2002, 3, 4, 5, whatever, like that, right? That's within your time. How do we know how it was before your time? We don't. We're just told it because we were not there. Now, if we know that something different is going on, it's not because it's a past time, it's because it's another time, it's another timeline. So you have bodies in different timelines. Reference the movie The One. It was with Jet Li, and it was about policing the multiverse. Jet Li gets in his head that once he kills all of his other selves, all those other selves come into him, and he becomes invincible and more powerful. That's true to an extent. Okay, don't go killing all your other selves, but when they do die off, pull them to you and gather them. You can always gather your own souls. You can't not do anything, okay? They try to tell you that because they don't want you to. You can do anything. Anything is possible. Anything, okay? If we can create fucking spiders, we can create anything, all right? Or if we can create all this that's around us, we can create anything. Okay, so this is a new start, and have a new vision, guys. A new powerful vision. As an example for linear time, now we're in bubbles and we're on a spider web, so to speak, right? With bubbles. I'm going to give an example. Okay, so let's say your grandmother's mom, you were your grandmother's mom. Okay, if you're a girl, or even if you're a guy. Let's just hypothetically, to keep it simple, say you're a girl and you're your grandmother's mother. Your grandmother is your daughter, right? But in this body, your grandmother is your grandmother. I don't know if that makes any sense. If you have multiple bodies in all the timelines, you don't have just one body in each timeline. You have multiple bodies in each timeline, okay? This is how they make it linear. Let's say, your great-grandmother is what it would be, was you. Let's say you're born in this body in 1980. Let's say she dies in 1985. If you're reincarnated from her, how are you living in 1980 when she's still living, and then she only dies in 1985? It's because you have two bodies in this particular timeline. It's not because you're reincarnated from her to you. If that was the case, she would die before you, and then you would be you in this body again. You have multiple bodies. So in this particular scenario, you've got two bodies. You're your great-grandmother, and then you're you. She dies out, she goes back over to live that same life again, or you take her into you, or she automatically, if she already knows, goes into you, goes into another body. That's how they make time linear, because they have people born at different times in order to have live on after you die, and then they live on after they die. And when you have multiple bodies, it looks like you're reincarnating because you have the same characteristic traits. Okay, let's say you like to hide money in a specific spot that only you hide money, but your kids know this and your grandkids know this, and then you come in a different body and you're hiding shit in the same thing. Oh, you're reincarnated. No, you're just a different body with the same soul. Okay, so if you think of yourself as having multiple bodies, multiple soul pieces, because it was broken and you didn't do that on purpose, they did it, then there you go. That's how you can create linear time. Take this for what it's worth and think about it. And I'm trying to explain it the best that I can. So there's that. When it comes to jumping into different bodies as well, all you must do is think about that other body and you can jump into it. You can affect it. So like in the movie The One, when he kills off his other selves in different timelines, then those souls... Oh my God, you press the OK button and it just doesn't want to fucking shut up. That's with all the fires and stuff going on. When he was going and he was killing them off and the souls were splitting into all of yous, that's what happened and happens. And it does. And you do become more powerful, or you just become more knowing. You become a little bit more invincible perhaps, but don't get your damn egos in a bunch and shit, because it ain't all like that. Egos aren't anything. They also keep you in a time loop. But this is already at 51 minutes, so I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna only do like maybe 5 more minutes of this, and then again look at my post for additional information. But to kind of finish off this thought, when it comes to that, you can go and you can visit, and again reference my a visitation to another you in my blog. You can visit. I did it on accident before, and I can do it on purpose now. What decisions you make in this life, your other lives will be affected as well. So if you make a different decision, you totally go off course of what they want you to do, and then all of a sudden you start creating your own thing. All of that creation is shared with all the yous. Okay, think of it as a circle where you have the spider web, right? And it's like that, right? With all the bubbles. It's a circle, and you can affect the other yous. You also can affect everybody else. Like I said, when a multitude of people are making different decisions, you start having different names that everybody's noticing, and you have different things that everybody's noticing that could have been a thought here or there, and now is a thought because somebody made that decision at that one point in time, excuse me, which changed that and then stopped that particular timeline. Okay, so just a small little recap on this one, just to see if you guys can also get that. And then I'll do like a final card as well. We're in time loops, but they're lifetime time loops. Lifetime. Reincarnation is re-entering into the same body, hence the word re. So you're not incarnating, you're reincarnating. You also have people that are new that are incarnating, and some of those, oh, I didn't go over the internet. Okay, then what I'll do is I'll do that one on my post. Oh, that's a big thing. I'm totally going to do that one. It's going to have to be on my post. The internet was not supposed to be completely made like this. I guess, you know what, let me go into it a little bit. All right, I'll just give a little tad bit, and then I'll write more in the post or whatnot. You've got the Page of Pentacles and Earth. A lot of you guys are, as well as me, don't really know which way to go and what to do. Okay, we're kind of new at this. We're kind of babies at this, because when we do die in these bodies, we're zapped. Our memories are zapped, because why the hell would they want us to remember this? Then we would wake up and do different things again. So our memories are zapped. So with the page is generally somebody who is inexperienced, and we all are in this. Okay, so just saying, I am as well, figuring it out as I go. Excuse me, like you guys are figuring it out as you go. But with this Page of Pentacles, we can ground ourselves, because again, Pentacles is Earth. We can ground ourselves with our strength, with the knowledge we have, and we can charge forward in the ways that we know how. Just don't react, act. Okay? So when you see a situation happening, don't just react to it. Just be like, oh, whoa, okay. What's going on here? What should I do? All right, I'm going to do this. And then again, if you start seeing deja vu, stop stop where you are and think, all right, you know what? I've done this before, so I've done it before. Okay, let me try something new, right? Let me do this. So that will change your timeline, all right? They don't like that. They don't like that. They don't like this whole free will thing, but they have to do the free will. And the reason for that is not because it's only universal law, but it's because it's easier to manage somebody who is willing to do what you want them to do as opposed to somebody who's rebellious. You ever think of the two kids, like let's say they talk about the middle kid being rebellious or whatever. It's easier to handle the older kid than it is the middle kid because the middle kid's rebellious. They do whatever the fuck they want to do. Same darn thing. Okay. So if you're compliant and you say yeah and you just end up going, then they also can lie and say, well, you made this choice, you have to follow it through. No, you don't have to follow it through. You can be like, no, that's all right, I don't like what's going on, peace, love, and chicken grease, I'm freaking out of this joint. Most of the time they'll kill you or something will happen, depending on the situation. Don't get all crazy, guys. But you have to be prepared for the repercussions if you do say no. That's where the strength and the honor and the loyalty come into play, even though we're all kind of kids at this. Okay, just take it one step at a time. Take a different route, make a different decision, get away from people who are tyrannous to you. When you do that, you'll find that you grow astronomically. Well, there's more light. So you grow astronomically when you do that. All right. So I did say I was going to say something about the internet. All right. So the internet was kind of created. It was created for whatever purpose it was created. It was also created in an analog system. Not a computer whiz, but with analog, I can explain that for those of you who don't know. It's more like being in the same computer. You have to have like a zip file or something like that to take it out of the computer and put it into another computer. They didn't have the whole whatever. And digital to me is just that, where it can go from one computer to the next. That's more internet because it's the net that's inside, and they call it a net for a reason. Okay, spider webs or nets. Okay, so there's that. Now remember, for those of you who are born before 2000. And old enough to understand what was going on. Do you remember when the world was going to end in 2000? Basically, the computer systems were going to crash in 2000. That was planned. The reason for that is because of what's going on now. The internet, if it wasn't for the internet, then people like you, like me, who are watching these videos, watching everybody else's videos, would not be able to access the certain files, the certain videos, the certain information that we can now access. We wouldn't be able to access them, okay? We would still be stuck in like a rut, stuck in a bubble. But because now we have the internet, we can tell each other these things like I'm telling you. This might open up some eyes. This may never open up anybody's eyes. But as long as I say it, then I'm doing my job, that's for sure, as like an intervener. So, anything that I can do against tyranny, I'm all fucking for it, yo. All for it. But anyway, so the internet. Now, before 2000, they wanted it to crash. They wanted literally people to be in kind of the dark ages to where it was like no internet, no computers, no nothing. Because first of all, the internet wasn't necessarily meant to be worldwide. It was just supposed to be within their parameter and their means, but an intervener, thankful to him, because I know it is a guy, decided to upload or download or whatever it is and make it to where it was available to everybody. So then they had to adjust their strategy. So then now they started policing it, right? So they're like, okay, F this. We're looking at certain timelines of certain ideas of ways that people are going, and this is going to go out of control. So we have to cut it at the bud. Nip it at the bud. So 2000, we're going to make an excuse because all of a sudden it's a 2 instead of a 1. The computers are going to freaking crash and break down. Which may have been true. Who knows? Because there's somebody called by the name of John Teeter or Titer, who was a known time traveler. I never got into the time travel, so I'm going to post that. Time travel. I'm going to post that on my blog, guys, the time travel thing, and then make sure that I didn't do that. Time travel. Yeah. Post. Okay. Anyways, John Teeter, I don't know his name, supposedly went back in time to like the 1960s in order to get some type of chip from a computer chip, an analog computer chip of some sort, because that's when it was analog, that we no longer had in either the 80s, 90s, or whatever, and took it to 1998 and applied it in some way or another to where all of a sudden now we have the internet now. If you're in my timeline in particular and you're watching this, that whole 2000 Odyssey sort of thing did not happen. I'd like to think it might be because of him and because of other people who intervene who have something called a conscience. Yes, a conscience. Because this isn't all about everybody. It isn't all about your ego. It's about getting people out, but it's also about you getting yourself out. Like I always say, I'm not here to save everybody. I'm just here to save myself. And whatever information I decide I want to put out, if you listen to it, cool. If you don't, cool. Okay? Just like this whole thing. With the internet, once that whole chip was, the whole chip ordeal happened and the internet still stayed after 2000, they had to again adjust their strategies. But of course, they have long-term plans, because who in that type of position would not? We're at an hour. Okay. Really quickly then. So with the internet still going and continuing on, and then there's YouTube that's created where everybody's starting to talk to each other, like you, like me, like you're watching it, we're learning certain things. People started making other decisions, different decisions. So they needed to police it. Okay. They needed to all of a sudden, oh, you can't see these files. Oh, you can't see those files. Those documents are no good for you to see. And you have to pay for it. And you have to go through yada, 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 yada in order to get information that already should be free. And it's not. Okay. Then you have people. And then you have people. And I don't want to necessarily say names, just because you have people who are what they call keyboard warriors, hackers, I guess you can say, who are able to go into the system and basically go everywhere into the system, okay, as we should be able to do. They try to say that, well, you know what, let me put it this way. Some of the little hackers that do go into other people's money and steal their money, that's bullshit. You guys need to stop doing that kind of stupid shit, for real. Let's make this something really worth hacking, all right? Just saying. But then you have those who are real and legit and elite, I guess you might want to say. And those are the ones that would go into certain areas and maybe pull files out from those areas and show it to the world, sort of thing, or learn it or whatever, because there's a lot that's hidden. We all should have every kind of freedom. Seriously, for real, yo. Like, why the fuck should I have to pay for something like that? But anyways, that's just how it is. I'm going to also add that into my blog as well, as far as more information with the internet and then time travel, because I know I didn't go into it here. And I think I went into everything else. Jumping timelines, I think I went into that, where all you have to do is think about your other self and you're there and you can literally jump into it and make a different decision. You can make a different decision for this body, for that body, for that body, for that body, da, 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 da. Okay, because again, all of us are affected. All right, guys, so I hope you guys watch this whole thing, really honestly, or at least some of it to gauge some of the information. Maybe watch half of it now, half of it at another time, because I feel that this is important for you guys to know. And even if you don't want to watch it right now, then so be it. You might be drawn to it again at another time. Watch out for my blog. I would suggest looking at it tomorrow. Today for me is Thursday. I know everybody's in different timelines. It could be like Thursday night for you and then already Friday. So just look at it for you guys Friday night. For those in Pacific Standard Time where I'm at, look at it tomorrow morning. I don't know, just tomorrow. Okay. Just look at it tomorrow. And I should have the blog because it takes a little bit for me to actually, go through it. If you're a writer, you get it. Then I got to edit it and spelling. Oh my God. Grammar. Oh my God. So anyhow, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I blew your mind and I hope I taught you something. Let me know again. Give me feedback on if you guys want me to do the tarot cards as well as the conversations, because I did get a lot of people who wanted to see my face as well as my hands, I guess. More so my face, whatever, because I'm in tarot reading. Sometimes it's just my hands. So, all right, guys, love yourself. All right. And reflect the same. Peace, love, and chicken grease.